Please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the first of our now weekly segment, our first Friday Underdog Happy Hour. We are joined once again by KawhisenbergDFS. Zach, how are you doing, man?
Good, man. Happy to be back. It's been a minute. And I mean, only a couple minutes since you and I convened over on the FTN stream, but excited about the back half of the home and home here today, man. And good to see some familiar names in the chat too.
I know. I can't tell if I'm excited or upset that Chris is in here because we just witnessed his incredible team in the FTN best ball draft that we did a minute ago. But we are going to be jumping into a double dribble. So we're I'll share screen as let's jump in now here.
Let's risk it here.
And let's see what it looks like. It looks like we're waiting for 8 more here. So we're going to be in the double dribble. And for those that might be new, although I feel like everybody knows now, Underdog's actually running a special promo where it is a 100% deposit bonus match up to $500 right now. They upped it for like a short time only. So if you haven't signed up yet, use promo code HOLD, H-O-L-D, or you can find it in the show notes as well. And sign up for that. We get a fun one. Also, I should say, since it is a happy hour show, we're sipping on a little. We've got a Grim Oktoberfest. So not that everybody needs to be, but I went back and forth like, am I going to have a drink? Because I don't really want it, but it is a happy hour show, so I forced it upon myself. But all right, so we're still waiting for a few more here. I feel like we should, though, on your stream, everyone is aware that you do rankings, but on our show, I don't know if people know that you're out there grinding. Where can people find your stuff? And I don't know, do you want to like take us through some of your rankings right now as we wait for this to fill up? A few more to go.
Yeah, sure thing. I can post those in the chat. There's the link. I've got rankings for Underdog and DraftKings for free over there on FTN Fantasy. .com. And then, like Mike said, Mike was just over on the stream 2 hours ago every Friday at 1 Eastern, also doing live stream drafts over there. So if you're in the best ball streets, I think it's a pretty good 1-2 punch. FDN at 1, team hold at 3 to get your Friday drafts in. And yeah, man, I think one thing we were talking about, if we're just looking at the top of the draft here in terms of my rankings and where they differ from ADP, Anthony Davis and Anthony Edwards, I think, are the two names that jump out to me up top. I've got Anthony Davis at 8 overall and an ADP of 11.5 right now. Anthony Edwards, 7.2 in the ADP. He's 14th in my rank. So I don't know. I guess, Mike, I'll let you pick one of those players and let's talk about him.
I feel bad talking about Ant-Man because I do love Ant-Man. But it's just that spot, picking him there just feels a little tricky. Wait, who was the other one that you said besides Anthony Edwards?
And Anthony Davis. So double Anthony action.
Let's talk about Anthony Davis because I also think it's funny that interesting that he is behind Sabonis. muted myself. Let's do Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I didn't know if it was my audio or what. Yeah, and look, Sabonis is great up there. To me, he is the fourth guy out of that top tier of bigs, and I think it's a 1A, 1B. You've got Joker and Embiid up top, and then you've got Brown and Sabonis right behind him. I just think the game-to-game upside, the season-long upside, the 2-week scoring upside.
Yeah.
I lean towards Anthony Davis over Sabonis here. And again, I know you and I both kind of in the same boat when placing a high priority on getting or solidifying your big position if you can here in the first round. And if you don't, then maybe holding off and getting some later value. So Anthony Davis, again, is he going to, have a hangnail and go back to the locker room 8 times this season? Probably. Yeah. But when he's healthy, he is the alpha on this Lakers team in terms of producing fantasy stats. And when he's been healthy, like this is a guy that can be in the realm of Jokic and Embiid statistically when he's got things firing on all cylinders. So I'm a little bit higher on Anthony Davis, and that has caused him to be, I think, my second highest owned big right now, just behind Mark Williams, who I'm sure we'll talk about as we go here.
Yeah. And Josh in the chat saying 82 games from Brow. He did say that. He came out and said that, which I thought was hilarious because in this day and age, literally no one's allowed to play 82 games besides Mikal Bridges. Like coaches won't allow it, teams won't allow it. All right, looks like we're full here. Let's see. Let's see some
Snipe City.
We got Garen Skurs with the 101. We love to see that. Congrats to Garen. Sam Olsen is in every draft I've ever done. Brackenridge. I feel like Brackenridge is a familiar name too. We got Boston base up in here. Jeb at the 7. Let's see where else we got. Oh, KawhisenbergDFS at the 9. I'm at the 10.
And then our boy UNC at 12. Good to see Durbin here. Brackenridge was in the draft we did at 1, I think.
Yeah, I thought so. I go through these phases too. It felt like for a month straight, I was drafting at 4, 5, or 6, and now I've just been drafting at 9, 10, or 11, or 12. Wait, hold on. Oh, so Jeff is at the 6. Which one is Jeff? Jeff is Accidental Victory. All right.
Okay, nice. Jeff was in our draft earlier as well, so kind of getting the band back together here.
Yeah, almost the exact same room. I also saw Boston base, who is in the 5, said he is in the car. So a little nervous here that we get some car drafters. Common Man also in the car. Oh, I actually had a question, right? So Giannis goes 2 here, and the draft we did earlier, Luka went 2. I've actually been kind of flip-flopping those a little bit too, where I'm just trying to get like equal exposure to them. So if I get like 4 2s in a row, I'd maybe go 2 Giannis, 2 Luka, or something like that. Have you been like strong Giannis 2 every time, or how have you been approaching it?
Pretty much just because I feel like there are more guards that can get me there if that makes sense later on in the draft. I think the wings on Underdog are kind of the premier position to me if you're not going to get a Jokic or Embiid. And then you go over to a site like DraftKings, and I think the guards actually are the premium up top. But I don't think you can really go wrong with any of these top 4. And I think it might be fair to lump Tatum in there as well. As this is going to be a Sabonis pick for me.
Man, I'm actually happy to get Halliburton because I want more Hallie exposure. I feel like he's going to be a monster, but I was kind of excited to take Sabonis and then not have to think about a big again.
Right. Well, and so going back to that, I think if I'm going to mix it up at the 2, it might be Joel Embiid for me because we didn't see this come through as much in the final last year on Underdog. But 2 years ago, I believe there was like 58 teams in the final, and 51 of them had either Jokic or Embiid on them. And so last year, I got 4 teams into the final, luckily enough, last year. Wow. But all 4 of them had Jokic, and then he sat out all but like 1 game during that final 2-week period. So I think Embiid is actually the guy that I would mix it up with at 2 because I think that elite big just continues to be because the guys that won, I think it was Embiid and Sabonis were the 2 answers last year at big for the teams that finished up in the top 10. So to me, that's the most consistent position in terms of advancing your team all the way to the final. But maybe that's not as important this year, considering most of the prize pool is going to that regular season champion, if you will. So I guess what are your thoughts there? Like, are we maybe now overvaluing those elite bigs?
No, I still think they can separate themselves from the field. It almost reminds me of like taking a Travis Kelce or a Mark Andrews at tight end, where there's just like such a big gap between what that tier does and the next tier, and especially because you only need one of them. And so like maybe you do get a spike week from somebody like Mark Williams as your second big, then it's like, oh, I don't know. I just feel like you're able to separate yourself a little bit more. I will say we were talking earlier about this. I went guard to start again. And
yeah, I saw that.
and it's because it was either I saw Jaylen Brown when 14. I was ready to start Hallie Brown. That was going to be how I was starting. And then you're just a hater, hated me. But I didn't want to take Mikal Bridges because we had just talked about that. But where Jeb takes him, like 18, I think that's pretty good value. But for some reason, 15 feels too early for that pick. But 18, I like.
18 is exactly where I have Mikal Bridges in my rankings. And like we talked about an hour ago, if you want to reach on really anybody, it's like, that's your guy.
Yeah.
Go get him. And Mikal Bridges, again, you're going to probably get 82 games out of Mikal Bridges. So
yeah,
I think it's a fine pick. But again, I took the opportunity with Lillard dropping to 16 there.
Yeah, I love that.
To get a share of him, because he's somebody I held off on Lillard before the trade. And now I think he's being taken a little bit higher than I still want to take him. So I haven't gotten a ton of Dames. So happy to get a share here.
And I know, Jeb saying Bridges plays every game. Weisberg saying the same thing. And definitely like, again, that's like no shade on Bridges. But the context in the last draft, I think he went 12th. So Mikal was going before like Siakam, before KD. And it just felt a little stretchy. But yeah, let's see. And so Garen started, who did he go with here? So he started Jokic, Fox, Markkanen. I've been liking De'Aaron Fox too. I like at that spot of that 24, 25. And Laurie too is another one. I mean, I know we've been taking Zion before him, but I like Laurie Markkanen as well. It seems, I mean, maybe he doesn't get to exactly what he did this past season, but he's going to be out there. They play fast. I like the way they use him. So I like Laurie Markkanen.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, again, I would have taken Zion there, and I will go ahead and talk Zion because I don't think he's falling to either of us here, 6 and 7 picks away, respectively. No. But it would be Zion over Laurie for me right there. But Laurie, again, not quite the Iron Man that Mikal Bridges is and will continue to be, but maybe a little bit more statistical upside there. Again, like maybe I can't wrap my mind around Mikal Bridges being a 26 point per game guy quite yet. We'll see right off the rip if he's going to continue in that same type of role and having that same type of success. But I just think, again, as Breckenridge takes Zion there, the upside is just off the charts, I think, for Zion coming into a season healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I want to catch up on we were talking about Siakam. Weisberg was saying the vibes in Toronto feel about as bad as I've seen post media day. Siakam does not feel motivated given what Masai said at media day. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to freaking know anything about like what's happening via media day, because apparently James Harden's super happy. So like, I don't,
right.
I don't really know. Jeb with Scotty Barnes too, to back that up with Bridges. That's a fun start from Jeb, right? He goes Ant-Man, Bridges, and Scotty Barnes. I do like Scotty's upside.
Well, this is a little bit of a tough spot for me here because I don't have a wing yet. And I know I was just preaching how I think getting wings up at the top of the draft is something that you should be targeting throughout draft season here. But with Kyrie available to me at 33, I know that's his ADP right now, but I'm going to pair Kyrie and Dame and try to see what I can do in terms of some value at wing as we move through the draft.
Well, I'm glad you did that because I did not want to be clicking DeRozan or Ingram yet. So I'm excited to get Paul George here. We'll add Paul George to get ourselves a wing. So, which I do like Paul George. I mean, I think he's, as long as he stays on the court, I'm a big fan of Paul George.
I see Baldwin in here and Weisberg saying, love the idea of getting Cade this year. I got him in the draft we did an hour ago. Yeah. And I think he's really good value where he's going. And just a hater, killing my plan here of getting my namesake in the 4th round.
Yeah, that's tough. I like this turn from Unk though. So Unk has got Jamal, Cade, and to pair up with KD and Siakam, which is a pretty fun start.
Again, the man is good. I mean, what he's saying in the last draft, he was 12 or 13 drafts away from maxing this thing already.
Yeah. Man,
dude, you're just a hater. I'm now his biggest hater because I know taking Ingram as well.
This is tough because I really don't want to take Bam or Mobley.
Yeah.
Or DeRozan. Actually, you know who I don't have any? This is what I'm doing. I'm just gonna continue with my Franz love, and I'm gonna take Franz Wagner here.
Oh, look, I'm a big DeMar DeRozan fan. In the past few years, I've had a DeRozan jersey behind me on the wall. I don't think I can get there. And I don't want to take Kuzma either, but then I'm really like, I've kind of set myself up for failure here on the wing. So I'm going to get a little crazy with this. We're going to take Bam,
All
8,
right.
9 spots behind ADP, 8 spots below ADP, and we're going to be done with center. We got Sabonis, we got Bam, and we're just going to focus on guard and wing the rest of the draft.
Yeah, now you don't have to pick another big.
Yeah, now I can't take Mark Williams. I can't do it.
You can't. Well, that's good. Open it. Although I feel like this is going to be a Mark Williams fan-friendly draft. I think most of us are aware. Yeah, I didn't hate Kuzma there either. Like when I was looking at the wings, I didn't want to take DeRozan, but I was looking between Franz and Kuzma. I don't think I have any Kuzma.
Yeah, I've got minimal shares of Kuz there, and I don't think he's a bad pick. He just like have we not already reached the Kuzma ceiling? Like last year, he was great.
Yeah,
but like, it just doesn't excite me very much, and so probably the safer pick for this build, not having any wings yet. But again, on draft 84 here or whatever I am, like we gotta mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and then Jeb with the Jordan Poole pick, which I don't have a lot of him either, but I do like that.
I mean, it feels like the ceiling is immense on Jordan Poole if he can, keep it together there, which he should be. I mean, it seems like the keys to that backcourt are his to lose at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and I look, if I should have gone to the gym before this because I wish I was joining you in the happy hour. But if we've got any folks from Texas here, we've got the HEB sparkling water.
Oh, there we go.
The lime flavor there. So shout out the greatest grocery store in the world.
There we go.
There.
Jeff 2 in the chat saying positional scarcity. That's why I grabbed Kuzma in the fourth. I mean, it is funny. I've been in a couple of those drafts recently where the wings just come flying off the board. And that's what's so crazy about this is it gets real scary real fast when you start looking. Like, I mean, we're seeing the next best available, right? All of a sudden we're down to Jeremy Grant, Jabari, and OG Keldon, like that range. And that's not as enticing. But to go back to your point, like for the guards, you still have Freddie, Ja, Maxey, like there's just Bradley Beal. There's still a lot of upside at guard, and that's why I think it is important to prioritize those wings early.
I see Ja going off the board there to Brackenridge, who
there you go.
I would like the pick because you start Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, Zion, but then Bane was the pick in the 4th round. So I don't know if I like pairing Bane and Ja together. But Ja in the 5th with a start like that, if Bane was say Bane was Darius Garland or Jordan Poole, right? Then I like taking Ja there a little bit more. Stacking those two guards up feels suboptimal to me.
Well, you're on the clock now, so I don't want to bug you too much. But after you make your pick, I'm going to take a big with my next pick. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
And I really like these next 3, and I don't know really which direction. Like, who do you think has the most upside of the Şengün, Ayton, Porzingis?
I mean, game to game, Şengün for me. I think Ayton is the pick if I'm looking for a big here.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know Porzingis is always going to get his, right? But has he ever been in a situation like this before, sharing the floor with not one but 2 other all-stars in Brown and Tatum there? So
I think that's the thing. That's kind of why I think I'm going to go 8 and 2 because Şengün. I agree with you with Şengün probably has the highest ceiling night tonight where we're going to see like some 18, 10 and 10s. But Ayton is just going to be, I think, pretty consistent.
Yeah, no, I agree. And coming up here, man, I mean, I'm again, I don't like what I've done with the wings here. So again, just kind of backing up the thought that you don't want to wait as long as I did to grab a wing here. Cause I'm looking at, I know you're on deck here and then I'm after you, but Chris Middleton, that probably would have been my pick over Jabari Smith if I didn't already have Dame. And I'm not against pairing or putting Middleton on this roster, but I think I've got another pick that I'm going to go ahead and take a chance on here unless you snipe me here.
I was going to go here with Keegan Murray.
Okay, no snipes.
Okay, so because originally I was gonna go OG, but I do have so much Keegan Murray, but I'm just like buying hard into second year leap in an offense where they need somebody like him, right?
Yeah,
That should just knock down open threes. So I'm gonna go down the Keegan Murray route again.
So, and I think OG, certainly the chalk pick here, Middleton fine. I think even Andrew Wiggins, a decent pick here. But with the way this has gone kind of sideways for me and trying to fill a void at wing, I'm going to throw my morals to the wayside.
Oh, no.
And pick up Miles Bridges because obviously missing the first 10 games, right, due to suspension. But out of these other wings, I don't think there's another guy here with that same type of upside. 27 and 4 per game was Miles Bridges last time we saw him. And of course, LaMelo's developing. They drafted Brandon Miller, right? But I still think Miles Bridges out of that group of wings, with the way this draft has started for me, the wing with the highest upside left on the board.
No, that makes sense. I mean, what are you going to do? Draft Kevin Porter Jr. next? Or no, no, that does make sense. I think I actually only have one of them. I know this is a whole different show, but comparing how Primo's been handled, Bridges has been handled, and KPJ has been handled is wild when you compare the three of them. But
the only thing I can think of with the Primo thing is that because I believe he played 4 games for San Antonio last year, right, before they cut him. So I think it's like a season-long suspension, tacking the 4 games onto after he already got cut. But again, questionable there by the Clippers, I think.
Wild, yeah. Yeah, and I'm assuming he will get signed too. I'm assuming
kid was, super promising.
Yeah, that was
on the court.
My first SORARE purchase was Josh Primo.
Gotta love it. I also purchased a KPJ last year, so
yeah, there you go. All right, so let's see. Let's take a look at Jeb real quick. What's Jeb looking at? He picked up Maxine Wiggins with his next turn. I'm enjoying Jeb's team for the most part. We got Ant, Mikal, Scotty, Jordan Poole, Maxine Wiggins. Let's see.
I remember what the Primo pick or the deal he got wasn't an Exhibit 10, which obviously can be converted. Okay, yeah. So Weisberg backing me up there.
The Clippers signed him?
Yeah. Primo's on the Clippers on an Exhibit 10 deal.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and again, I think he makes that team in some capacity because the kid, he's young, he's good, and hopefully he has learned from the disgusting things that he was doing with my team.
yeah. He is super young. Was he one of the youngest?
He was the youngest player in the league. Yeah, for a while there. I mean, I don't think he's older than 20 still.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll turn 21 in December.
Wow. All right. Well, this is funny, man. I hadn't taken DeAndre Ayton once, and then in the last hour and a half, I've now drafted him 2 times.
Oh, and I don't know if I have any BAM shares. I certainly have not waited till round 5 to get my first wing. So, day of firsts.
Yeah. There we go. All right, where are we looking at in this round here, in this range here? What have you been doing with OKC? We didn't really talk about that in the last stream. I mean, obviously SGA's been like definitively the 6th pick of the draft now.
Right.
But how have you been approaching, like, will you mix and match multiple players from this squad, right? Because you get 3 guards, SGA, J-Dub, and Giddey. On the wings, you're not really concerned too much about anybody here. Hold on, as I make another pick. I might actually grab another wing here because I'm so guard heavy with starting guard. I think I might just plug in Michael Porter Jr. here.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to Devin Vassell and then take one of these wings here on the kickback because I don't think anyone's excited to draft Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
So he might still be here in 3 or 4 picks, but we'll see. But anyways, how are you approaching the OKC stuff? Like with, I guess mainly the guards because we've talked about Chet.
I believe Giddey, and I can double check here since we have the technology. I think Giddey is my highest owned player from that team. I'm a huge Josh Giddey fan, both from a fantasy perspective and a real hoops perspective. He's just kind of the guy for me. He has ended up as my second guard on a ton of teams. And then I drafted Chet in that draft we did an hour ago. Chet, my second guy from OKC. I think J-Dub, right? Jalen Williams, which is, of course, just it's tough to delineate between those two, especially with the way their season went last year.
Yeah.
He's just kind of lost in the sauce for me where he's being drafted. I think it's a little bit high still. I think Jalen Williams belongs in this Austin Reeves, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jaden Ivey range to me, and he's going about 10 picks higher. SGA, if you can get him, of course.
Yeah.
And then I don't have a ton of interest late on in these drafts. Like I know I took Dort last time, but that's not a guy I've been targeting with a ton of volume. So it's kind of just been Giddey and Chet for me. I mean, that they're kind of a loaded team in terms of like options.
They really are. I think, I'm still very happy taking SGA like 6, even 5 sometimes. I think he's just a monster. He's just a monster. And I feel like he's going to average 30 points a game. And then, so if you get the peripheral stats, cool. But he can almost get you there on points alone. I see Bodavine's comment here. He said, I think J-Dub might have reached his fantasy ceiling last year. I get why people would think that because he really did go ham for that 3-week run. I have a hard time saying someone reached their fantasy ceiling 5 months into their NBA career. I feel like he's still got some room to grow, but I do think there's just a lot of mouths to feed there. So I'm with you. SGA is the point scorer. Giddey's the facilitator. And I was saying this in the offseason, and then Victory lapped it because Zach Lowe did a podcast on it like 3 weeks later. Not that he watched it, but just the fact that we were close. Where if Giddey had some stretches last year where he started knocking down threes. And if he can do that a little bit more consistently, that team is going to be unbelievable. But he's just going to be like a triple-double machine, you know? He's just going to you're going to have like so many 14, 11, and 11. So I love Giddey the most too. And then I take some late-round flyers on Dort here and there too.
So I just remembered I can search by team here. So I've got 22% Giddey, 13 Chet Holmgren, just 5 on Jalen Williams, and 3% each on Lou Dort and SGA. At 5 and 6 spot, I think I don't have a ton of Tatum either. Those may be the two guys in the first round I have the least of, and it's just because of the randomizer. But yeah, I'm with you on Jalen. I'm not going to put a cap on that kid's ceiling after one season in the league.
Yeah.
He's a really solid player. And I think after like New Year's last year, he was very close to being a 50, 40, 90 guy.
Yeah. And I like J-Dub is also going to get you like a couple of steals a game and a block a game. And this is such a stock heavy scoring system where I feel like he's still going to like where I agree. Like he's probably getting drafted a little too high, but apparently not too high enough for me as I see that I also have 22% Giddey, 22% J-Dub, 18 Chet, 16 SGA, and then 4% of the Dort report himself. So that's where I kind of landed on that.
Yeah. And we need to make a remix. The best ball streets are a dangerous place because this is maybe my least favorite team I have drafted so far. And I blame it on Team Hold. I blame it on the community.
There you go. Well, the Sabonis, Kyrie at 33 is fun. So Sabonis, Dame, Kyrie. It's, you know what it is? It's because you get a second big in the 4th round that threw you off.
Yep. But it was that or Kyle Kuzma, and I'm just not a huge Kuz guy.
That's fair.
I would probably go Kuzma if I could do it over again.
The Tobias Harris stuff is a little interesting too, because I find that to be a vomit click. Like I really hate doing it. But I said this the other day in the morning show, I think there were some like reports coming out where they were like, hey, Tobias we're excited to use Tobias differently this year. Like that he's going to be a little bit more ball dominant at times. And I don't know if he's like running the second unit or what, but I guess I don't think anybody really likes clicking him, and where you're getting Tobias, maybe there's a little bit more ceiling caked in. So I don't hate it.
Well, look, I'm just hoping with that Tobias pick, again, trying to salvage that wing position in this draft, that he gets back to the role that we saw before James Harden showed up in Philly, where he was like 20 points, 7 boards, 3.5 assists. That's fantastic value if we're getting back to that. But he's also getting older. He's 31 this season. So again, I think it's an appropriate ADP right now. But if Harden is out of there, depending on who they get back or what they get back, I think that could be a value. Tyrese Maxey could end up being a major value as well.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Also, I was just seeing Mark Williams was already off the board. There you go, Skurs.
All right. Well, we're gonna get my obligatory Spurs pick in here. We're gonna reach a little bit on Jeremy Sohan, and we talked about that Spurs rotation in the last draft. But again, I think we could see some games this season where Jeremy Sohan is the starting point guard for the Spurs, and I think we'll see even more games where he's closing at the one for this team.
So Jakob Poeltl has an ADP of 87, and I'm getting him at pick 106 right here.
Huge value. I almost took a third big, but decided against it.
That is my first share of Jakob Poeltl right there. So excited to have him. I also think my first share of John Collins, where I'm trying to sprinkle him in a little bit too, and just hope that new scenery for him.
Yeah. Do you think he could take away at all from a guy like Lauri Markkanen entering the starting lineup?
I was reading something. They were like, do you think they put Lauri at the 3 and just play like crazy big of a 3-4-5 of that? I don't know. I'm not really sure. What do you, of this range right here? Well, actually, let's see. Let's do wings and guards. We got, you know what we're going to do? I think we might take a share of Ben Simmons right here.
Oh, you bastard.
Is that where you were going next? Giant City, baby.
Oh, damn it. All right.
I still don't think Ben Simmons is back, but I don't mind burning pick 111 if he's not,
Exactly where I am. I mean, and see, this is where I think I'm going to do another Draymond here. Again, I know sprained ankle right now, could miss the first week or two of the season. But again, just looking for fantasy points on my wing right now, and really relying on Dame and Kyrie to play a lot of games this year. Ben Simmons, man, like, who the hell knows what the next chapter is in this story? And like, I don't think any of us would say that he was particularly good last year. And that Ben Simmons was still a fantasy point per minute guy. So if he's on the court this year, getting him in the triple digits in terms of ADP, it could be a major steal if he's able to stay on the court this year.
Well, and again, I go back to roster construction, right? I have Halliburton, LaMelo, and Devin Vassell. I don't need Ben Simmons. So if he gives me a goose egg, I'm still fine with those 3 guards, right? Because what's it? 2 guards, 2 wings, a big, and is it one? It's 1 flex, right?
Yes, sir. Just 1 flex on UD.
Yeah. So I don't mind taking the shot there, even though deep down in my heart of hearts, I don't believe Ben Simmons is back.
I mean, look, did you see the video of him hitting 10 free throws in a row? He's back, baby. He's back.
He's just, we're so sad.
I also, my other guard option there would have been Trey Jones, but I do feel like it's a little bit, it's not super optimal, I think, to pair Sohan and Trey Jones, because I think they could legitimately leech off each other this year.
Yeah, I haven't taken too much of Trey Jones or Tyus Jones for that matter. And that I think that might be a leak. I feel like Tyus Jones, not only could he be effective with Washington, he also could just find himself, playing on a different team come in season. Also,
a team that needs a good backup point guard.
Right. Also, Bottomline, this is somebody I have been snagging pretty late, DeAnthony Melton. Especially if that Harden deal happens.
Yeah. I see Boston Bay saying, what are our thoughts on WNBA expansion? I saw Bay Area, and then isn't there supposed to be a second team? But it's like a secret?
Yeah, they don't. It hasn't been announced yet. I think Portland's been rumored. Philly's been rumored. There was another town, another city that I'm missing. Speaking of, this is a little fun tidbit that happened earlier today. This is why I was a few minutes late. Okay. I had a phone call with a reporter from the New York Times who is doing a piece on Ellie, the New York Liberty mascot.
Okay.
And a friend of mine knew that this was a friend of the reporter was like, I've seen my friend Mike talk about Ellie, the mascot, a handful of times, both in person and on social media. So that is my thoughts on the W expansion is that we need to expand Ellie. The mascot.
Who do you got in the finals?
I'm taking the Liberty, but I think it's in 4. I think they steal game 2. I think they lose the first game. They lose game 1 and then rip off 3 in a row.
All right. Well, okay. I'm an Aces fan. I followed them there from San Antonio. Okay. So that is my
and
squad.
Becky Hammond.
Yeah. Shout out Becky.
Yeah.
do we want to do it for the content? Just a little lunch bet or something. Like put the $20 down on the finals, something like that. I don't know. Maybe you get supersize it if the Liberty win in 4, something like that.
I think we do. Yeah, I think we have to.
All right, there you go.
I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. I've gone to 2, I believe, 1 or 2 of the Liberty Aces games in New York, and it was funny. I was seeing all these like tweets about, oh, dude, Kelsey Plum's going to lock up Sabrina. And I know historically that's been true. In the games that I've seen Kelsey Plum live, she has been by far the worst defender on the court. Like James Harden after like a noon game after a night out in Miami type energy. All right, we Jordan Clarkson there. We love that.
Yeah, just taking, 13 picks past ADP. Needed a guard there. I don't have a ton of Clarkson. Like we were talking about on the last stream, I think I would rather Keontae George if I'm going to this backcourt, but not complaining about Clarkson at pick 129.
Well, I don't have a lot of this person. I actually think I'm going to take Gary Trent Jr. here. He's got his minutes are pretty secure.
Yeah.
And he's like a spike week guy, right? If he gets hot for a couple games, but I mean, more often than not, he's probably not going to give me any points.
Yeah. But that's kind of what we're looking at with a lot of these guys down here, right? So diversifying your late round guys. I like it.
Do you think so I have Ayton and Pirtle in this structure of a build, would you still grab a third big, or do you think you can survive with 2 bigs? Like, because again, they don't have massive upside, but their floors are pretty high between those 2, I feel like.
So the 2 big build is certainly viable. 2 of the top 15 finishers in the final on Underdog last year had 2 big builds. But they were both Embiid, Sabonis, if I recall correctly. So again, I think it's a little thin just because of the 2 names that you have. But I'm not against the 2 big. I mean, obviously, I'm about to roll out a 2 big build here myself. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. You're just betting on Ayton to really have, I mean, the year of his life here, right?
And I'll probably grab a third one. There's a couple that I've been eyeing. I ended up with that second pick, grab Trey Murphy, and I know he's going to be out for a while. But again, I've got Paul George, Franz, Keegan Murray, John Collins. That'll cover me until he comes back. And then I really love like Trey Murphy's future. I'm very excited about. I think he was like, I don't think it's not the best, but he was like one of the top 5 3-point shooters the second half of the year or something like that. And that was without having Zion back on the floor. And I just feel like he's going to get wide open shots.
Dude, Trey Murphy can freaking play, man. Like that. Yeah. He got overshadowed a little bit, I think, in his rookie season because Herb Jones was the one that was more ready to play and the guy that they needed more on that team in terms of actually trying to get wins. But yeah, that guy can shoot the piss out of the ball. And, he's going to miss 10, 15 games with the meniscus. So this is a guy that if he was healthy, I think we're taking in the 105 to 110 range. So I think getting him at 130 or later is a fine value now. Again, for a guy that is going to be back just about 10, 12 games into the season.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Now we're in this weird no man's land of bigs, right? Where it's just like Wood, Zubac, which is so funny, man, because Zubac should be like a fantasy point per minute. Well, he is a fantasy point per minute monster, but they just play him. He starts the game and then we don't see him again until the third quarter. He never finishes the game. But there's
there's another actual center there now with Plum Dog there. So
that's true.
It just feels like the upside is just not that. Like I think Plumlee is actually the guy that I would take because you can get him 30 picks later.
Right. Basically the same production.
Yeah. And like if Zubac goes down and all of a sudden you can maybe get 28, 30 minutes of Plumlee on this Clippers team. Like we know the upside that Mason Plumlee has statistically when he gets that type of role. So I'm not super excited about either of those guys. Like I told you on the last year, Steven Adams is the guy if I'm looking for a big here. Probably Adams, Robinson, Zach Collins, who is the starting center there in San Antonio. And, of course, I get the case for a guy like Bobby Portis or even Naz Reid a little bit further down in ADP. If there's injuries or rest in front of them, those guys can have big games, big weeks, big scoring periods.
Well, it's funny, too, because I never really think about handcuffing in best ball, NBA specifically. But the idea of grabbing somebody like Naz Reid, because it's kind of security on both Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy.
Yeah.
But they also just paid him. So he's going to play. Like, they believe in him.
Yeah. I mean, he might be the sixth man for that team.
For real. For real. I mean, I'd rather have him out there than Rudy. I know I'm a Rudy hater, but
Dude, me too. I'm sure he's a fine guy, whatever. But like, if you're trying to win playoff, Rudy Gobert is great to get you to 45, 50 wins every year and get, a playoff round for your franchise if you're an owner or a GM. If you're trying to win an NBA championship,
yeah,
you can't do it. It shows in the playoffs every time.
Every time. It even showed in the FIBA World Cup. I do like Jeb's team here. Jeb, real quick. Again, I was a little hesitant of Ant-Man 7th overall, but whatever. Ant, Mikal Bridges, Scotty Barnes, Jordan Poole, Maxey, Wiggins, who I really like Wiggins too. That feels super safe.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Turner, Reeves, Derek White, Wendell Carter, Hart, Bay, Bobby Portis. I love it.
It's a strong team, man.
And there's your
I wouldn't expect anything else from Jeb. Like, he's pretty locked in. So yeah, that's really solid.
Do you have any love for Mitchell Robinson?
Yeah, at this point of the draft, I think he's right there, kind of alongside Steven Adams. Like, I would still prefer Funaki, but Mitchell Robinson has all the upside. It's just going to come down to, is Tibbs going to give him significant run, or is Isaiah Hartenstein going to continue to kind of eat into that role?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Boston Base. Also, yeah, I only have 1 or 2 shares of Big Sasha down in Sacramento. Have you snagged him at all with your 16th round pick?
Yes, I have, and I think it's just my EuroLeague bias because I love the EuroLeague. Kind of frustrated today that Nikola Milutinov got into some foul trouble. Brandon Davies in some early foul trouble. So seeing the reigning EuroLeague MVP over here in Sacramento, I think it's a much better real-life pickup and play than it is fantasy at this point because he needs at least one injury to get significant time in that rotation, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to take Kuminga here mainly because normally I would take KJ Martin, I think, but because I have Paul George, I'm going to stay away from that. I like Patrick Williams. I think Patrick Williams would be fine too. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of just maybe I luck into some Kuminga minutes early with Draymond being out.
Yeah. Well, I'm eyeing Bogdan here. We talked about him on the last stream and the upside, the thought process there. But I don't have any Houston exposure yet at guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm between Dillon Brooks and Norman Powell. I think it is going to be Dillon Brooks for me here again. Certainly not doing him any favors bringing Reggie Bullock in. But they paid Dillon. He's getting $20 million a year. This guy's going to factor into the rotation. And with KPJ out of there, to me, it makes Dillon Brooks a much more I can stomach this pick at pick 160 for a guy that is extremely frustrating, both on and off the court.
Yeah. I feel better about somebody like Norm Powell if he gets moved to Philly. Like if you are projecting that he gets traded or he's involved in the Harden trade. Yeah. I just think with Russ, Kawhi, and Paul George, it's a little bit trickier. And then the other guy in that range Brogdon, I think is kind of interesting too. But I imagine that any trade candidate with Malcolm Brogdon is like a contender already, where he falls into a role similar to what happened with the Celtics, where I guess that is fine at this point of the draft. But that's kind of where, I guess late in the 14th round, it's like a fine flyer, but I imagine he's getting moved.
Yeah. And I think even when he's on Portland, right? Like they have little to no incentive to give Malcolm Brogdon huge minutes. And we know about his injury history. His medicals at the draft, by all accounts, were some of the worst that these teams have seen, and it's played out throughout his career. The guy can't stay healthy. So the more Portland plays Brogdon, the higher chance that he gets injured, and then they can't move him. So it's kind of I'm just holding off on Brogdon. And if Malcolm Brogdon is the reason I don't win this tournament, okay, I'll shake everybody's hand who rostered him.
So be it. Also, Boston Bay's asking who just drafted Malcolm Brogdon. Yes, at the very beginning of the show, which is like when you introduce people. So that's your
Mike's
fault.
Done this a couple times.
Yeah.
Time or two.
Yeah, maybe it's because you're driving Boston Base, or you were driving.
Yeah.
This has to be one of the faster drafts I've done. That we're already into the 15th round here, 40 minutes in.
I mean, if you won't say it, I will. Are we going to do a second draft?
No. No.
Okay. I was just if you wanted to,
No.
I can hang out.
No. I can confidently say that just because if we hadn't done the draft at 1 o'clock, I would have.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I can hammer through till 5.
Yeah. Hey, I got to get I got to get to 150 somehow.
I know. I probably will continue to draft well into the evening tonight. Garen wants it. Yeah, you were saying you haven't done too many of these battle royales, right? The daily stuff.
I'll do one of the. So they've got NFL up right now, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
just NFL. Yeah. Just
okay.
NFL.
I mean, if those are quicker, I assume.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
we can. We'll
6-7 rounds.
Those here at the end.
I'll jump in. Guess I need
Those
to
are
pull
fun.
up. I need to pull up what my colleagues over at the FTN network are saying about Week 5. Then,
There you
so
go.
I try to get a leg up on you guys.
There you go. Jeff said, I'm only taking about 3 to 5 seconds per pick. The board has been making my picks easy. Has been a fast draft. Yeah, it has been a fast one. I don't think we have a lot of auto drafters either.
Yeah.
Also, we got to get you. We got to get you one of these goat horns. You see those beautiful goat horns right there?
Oh yes. What is?
That's from shipping one of the. You ship a contest. They give you some goat horns.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing until after one of the NBA dailies. It's like, let's go.
And what is and I see on like Jeb and Accidental Victory, they've got the sweatbands. Is that the cardio club thing?
I think that's just an accessory. I think you can add that.
Oh, okay.
I think you can add that. All right, here. What are we doing here?
I think it might be. I have a lot of Cam Thomas already, so I think I'm gonna pass on him. I think it's gonna be a guy we talked about earlier, and I know you and UNC are between me and my next pick. So Taylor Hendricks is going to be the pick here.
There you go.
Reaching a little bit, but wanted to get him in there again as I'm trying to take some home run shots here at wing with the way this draft worked out. But Bogdan was the guy I was considering at guard. And again, Cam Thomas, if you have a couple injuries on that Brooklyn team, we know what Cam Thomas can do statistically.
Yeah, I've got 28% Bogdan right now. So we're gonna take a shot at Cam Thomas here. But I have such a soft spot for him. I've been a fan of him for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you and I kind of swap in there because I have all the Cam Thomas. You have all the Bogdan, so maybe Bogdan will get back to me here. I see UNC taking Jaden Hardy and then Jovic. So take another round, guys.
I'm just glad Jovic is off the board. I didn't want to take him. You know, somebody I've been snagging a little bit late too. I do kind of like Santi Aldama in this last round. I just feel like he can spike occasionally. We might. What are our guard situation? I guess our last 3 guards are Simmons, Trent, and Cam Thomas. That kind of makes me feel gross. We might. I think we
about Josh Richardson because his ADP has climbed up from not having one to 179 here.
Yeah, well, they can fuck right off with Josh Richardson. I think I have one share of him, and that was by accident. I'm gonna go Christian Brown.
Yeah, I'll take Bogdan there.
There you go.
So not, I still think this is probably my least favorite team that I've drafted, but who knows? Maybe that's the one that takes it down.
Here we go. So as some of us are starting to wrap up here, we've got Unk, who we've got KD and Siakam. That is a fun, strong wing start because then you have to think about it for a little while. And then Jamal Murray and Cade, which again, those are great. That's like a great foundation. Scoot, Şengün. And then we've got AG, Cam Johnson, Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren is an enigma to me too. I've got some of them. I don't feel good or bad about it.
Yeah. It's hard for me to go all in on him with the clogged front court that they have there, right? Like,
it did make me feel a little bit better that they were like, hey, we only one of Bagley and Wiseman are going to play. I like that they said that. They were like, only one of them. They're figuring it out now. And then it seems like Duren's going to play some 4 or Stu's going to play some 4 while the other plays the 5. Which
they're still going to do that crap.
Man. I know. Well,
come on.
A 3-point shooter, I guess.
I mean,
why is Eric saying at least?
Did somebody take him, or is he his
No, I don't think so.
ADP has dropped precipitously.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. I wish Underdog would give us the power to just exclude guys.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Do not draft list or something like that.
I would love that. All right, hold on. I wanted to see the rest. This is a really solid team because then he goes Thompson, Quickly, Walker, who we talked about a lot last stream, Mike Conley, who we also talked about, Nas, and then Jaden Hardy, Nikola Jovic, just some home run shots in 15, 16. Love that.
It's like we're gonna need UNC to go ahead and do his next 12 drafts, his final 12 drafts in the next week, so he can't come in and dominate these drafts anymore.
Or we put him on stream. We put him on stream.
There you go.
And
distract him a little
bit. Him. So you started out with Sabonis, and then went 2 guards, Dame and Kyrie, and then bam. This is like, I like this because it forced you to be different. But I understand why I put you in a bind a little bit, because you were going into round 5 with no wings.
Yep.
But then some home run shots to Jabari, Bridges, Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, who you talked a little bit about last stream, about liking him for some upside. Sohan, your guy, Draymond, Clarkson, Schroeder, Jay Johnson, Dylan Brooks, Hendricks, and then Bogdan. So how do we feel now? Now that it's over, how do we feel?
I'm going to give that like a 5.8 out of 10. Again, I grade my own drafts I'm a very friendly grader to myself. And again, I maintain I would have to go and search through my 80 whatever drafts I've done to find one that I feel worse about than that one. But again, I think if Miles Bridges or Jabari, I need one of those 2 guys to develop into like a wing 1 or a wing 1B type of asset here to really have success with this team, because the wings they're dicey.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to search that easily, but I would imagine this is probably your only draft where you don't have a wing heading into round 5.
Oh, dude, maybe even into round 3.
Yeah.
Like, I've had that similar type of strategy positionally here on Underdog for the last 3 seasons, and so getting different in this case, again, I think it was that Bam pick. I should have just gone ahead and picked up DeMar right there, probably.
Yeah, but hey, it makes you unique. You're doing 150. They got to be different.
Hey, and you don't know I wouldn't know how much I dislike this build unless I do one of them. So
there you go. There you go. Now you'll know next time.
Yeah.
All right. So Jeb, we already gave some praise, but just to recap, we got Ant-Man, Bridges, Scotty Barnes, Jordan Poole, Maxey, Wiggs, Turner as his first big, right? I kind of like that. That's like a fun one where, not a ton of upside, but it gives you some security, some floor there. Austin Reeves, Derek White, Wendell Carter Jr., who we love. Hart, Bay, Bobby Portis, nice solid pick there. Malik, Cam Whitmore, and then the aforementioned Josh Richardson. How you feeling about Jebbers?
I think that's one of my favorite teams in this draft. Again, I'm a little bit lower on Anthony Edwards than that 7 pick, but certainly no issue having Anthony Edwards on your team here. No. And then again, I think Jeb doing a great job at avoiding the risk at the top of his draft with Ant, with McCall Bridges, with Scotty Barnes, and even Jordan Poole, Tyrese Maxey. These are not guys that miss a ton of games.
Yeah, it's a lot of upside with a lot of floor there too. Accidental victory. That's our man Jeff. He went SGA, Randall. I see this again. Our last draft, Randall went 13th, 19th. Makes way more sense there. Yep. SGA, Randall, Triple J, Kuzma, and then gets Chet. So he's got his 2 bigs, good to go. Fred, Hero, who I'm starting to warm up to a little bit too, especially if the Heat don't make a move. Brandon Miller, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin, Onyeka, Grant Williams, Keontae. We love Keontae. Patty Wills, Derek Lively here late, and then Shake Milton the last round. I haven't been taking any Shake, but whatever, dude. At the round 16, right?
Yeah. No, and I love that team. I think the Ben Mathurin pick at 102 is a guy that I'm trying to get a little bit more exposure to, because it doesn't look like they're going to end up trading Buddy Hield right now, but it does seem like the switch has happened where Ben Mathurin's going to be in that starting unit and Buddy Hield's going to come off the bench for the Pacers.
I love that. And I mean, I like taking shots on year 2 guys that showed some upside. Like clearly he hit a little bit of a rookie wall there towards the end, but man, crazy upside. And then Boston Base started with a Celtic, as he does, Jason Tatum. Trae Young at 20 makes way more sense than Trae Young at like 14 or 15, wherever I took him earlier. Love that. And then Wemby at 29, DeJounte, Grant, and OG. Are those, that's a solid wing core right there. Jalen Green, Jared Allen, Tyus Jones, PJ, CP3, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Hurt. So got some Kings back-to-back, Barnes and Herter. Brogdon, KCP, and then Big Al there at the last round for more Celtics. That's pretty solid. I like
that team a lot too. I like all of these teams better than mine. It's not a high bar that I set there, but man, and Al Horford in the 16th as well. Like
right?
I don't think it's going to be Cornette or Wenyan Gabriel like really taking over the, because Porzingis is going to miss some time this year, right?
Yeah.
So Al Horford in the last round, I think you could certainly do worse.
Absolutely. And then Garen was in our one hole. He went Jokic, Fox, Markkanen, James Harden there at 48. That will feel like a steal, I imagine. At 48. Josh Giddey at 49. Keldon, Chris Middleton, Buddy, Mark Williams there at the 9th. So Mark Williams being your second big in the 9th round. I love that. McDaniels, Trey Jones, the Dort Report, Herb Jones, Zach Collins there later. KJ Martin. I don't know who your last pick was, Garen. But KJ Martin again in the 15th round. Love that.
If I could nitpick that roster just for a second,
do it.
And this is late round. It doesn't matter. I think that team is extremely solid. If I have Jokic and then I get Mark Williams, no more centers for me. I'm gonna take another shot on a guard or a wing instead of Zach Collins. But again, Zach Collins at pick 168, perfectly fine value there. So not again nitpicking.
And I think, I feel you too. If I had Jokic and Mark Williams, I'm probably done drafting bigs.
Yeah.
And then, all right. So my roster here, we went Hallie and LaMelo Ball. I hate that I started with two guards, but they are at least two guards with like immense upside that I like. So they're young. Although LaMelo Ball, actually, both of these guys missed a ton of time last year, but whatever. And then Paul George, Franz, DeAndre Ayton, our first big, Keegan Murray. Reached a little bit for Keegan and Vassell, but whatever. I like them. John Collins, Jakob Poeltl, Ben Simmons, Gary Trent, Trey Murphy, Mitchell Robb, Kuminga, Cam Thomas, and Christian Brown. I will say for the most part, these are guys I haven't drafted a lot of. So this was definitely a different draft for me. So we'll take it.
I think I like your entire draft there. Like Keegan Murray is a guy that I don't have a ton of, but like I get the pick. And based off the two drafts you and I did together today, Mike, I've been wondering who else besides me is just running this Devin Vassell ADP up. And now I know it's you. You are also doing that with me.
I think I still have this open. Yeah. Let me see. So it's 14%, but I've drafted them all in the last like couple days. Like
32% Vassell for me here. So I am very invested.
Garen came in and he said, I'll listen to this. I took Zach on championship round protection if Jokic is sitting late season. There you go. And then Garen said Bilal Kulal. Oh my God, I'm pronouncing
Koulibaly.
There we go, Koulibaly. In that last round there for that last pick of the draft. That's pretty solid. Let's jump into let's do a battle royale. This one might be a little bit trickier to get into, but you got that pulled up.
Let's see, battle royale week 5.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's see if we both get in the same one here. It says waiting for 3 people. We should be good.
Let's do it. And I see that Underdog, of course, considering they are tweeting these updates up to the second, already have these designations updated here. But Amon-Ra doubtful this week, and Jahmyr Gibbs questionable.
Oh, Amon-Ra got moved down to doubtful?
Yeah, just now.
Oh, brutal. All right, let's see. We got let's just Garen, myself, Jeb, DZDs, who I don't know, and then KawhisenbergDFS. So it looks like 4 of the 6 are here. Garen again with the 1 of 1. What is going on, dude?
Okay, so QB, RB, 2 wide receiver, tight end, and a flex is this format. Okay.
Yep. And this is a gross slate now, especially with Amon-Ra getting ruled out. Although I was taking some Jameson Williams in the last round in a couple of these. This has been a gross one though, and I brought this up to John Boy and I said, "Hey, are we doing double tight end this week? If you get like a Kelsey Andrews," and he didn't respond in a way that he thought it was a good idea. So, just throwing that out there.
Okay, we're half point here. Okay.
Yeah, half point PPR. And the key to this is that I found is that all right. So Jefferson goes 1 overall. I'm going to be chalky here because I've been taking Travis Kelsey 2nd and 3rd, but I'm going to take Tyreek here. Leave Kelsey for everybody else. But what I found is everybody is drafting these are 6-person drafts, so you're having a lot of the same types of builds. So the key is in round 5 and 6 getting a little frisky, not being afraid to scroll down.
Okay.
But this slate is a little bit different because it's our first one with buys. And it's just a gross slate. Like wide receiver gets gross quickly.
Oh man, yeah. This may be, and I assume that there's probably some merit to maybe game stacking some here.
What we found is like quarterback wide receiver stack or quarterback tight end stack is pretty good.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need to double stack or force a bring back like a typical DFS lineup because it's only a few, like you're only drafting like 6 guys. So you don't have to like, you kind of have to run pure.
Oh, so we don't. Oh, I see what you did there. Not a sponsor. Okay, so yeah, it is just what we have no bench. It's just
right. This
okay,
we're running everybody out.
All right. Well, we'll see. I would like some feedback from you in the chat after we finish this, just because it's my first one. But
yeah,
I think I've got some maybe a little plan in place here. We'll see.
These move quickly too, so if you want to run one more after this, after you get your
sure, yeah, I'm in, man.
I like AJ Brown though. Yeah, starting with AJ Brown makes a ton of sense. But what I like, depending on what Monkfish does here, I think it'd be perfectly acceptable if you want to just snag. Oh, Monkfish chased her. I was gonna say to take Hurts now, but you don't have to worry about stacking. You just like take whoever you want.
Yeah, well, and see, this is the thing too. I think even with Hurts gone, like Cooper Kupp with no restrictions in that same game.
Yeah, but I don't even think you have to take him yet. I bet that's still there. Because like Cooper Kupp's ADP is like way down low.
You're probably right. Well, I'll just.
But you do whatever you want to. Don't listen to me.
Nah, I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry there. Got back on track a little bit last week. We'll see.
I honestly have been doing a lot of Derrick Henry and then snagging Anthony Richardson and Michael Pittman. But I'm going to take the fastest man in the world right now. Although I hate this because I also have Tyreek Hill. So that was a stupid pick. Stupid.
Well, and okay, so I can still I have a flex, so I can take another. There's actually another running back that I would have my eye on here this week, but
yeah. Man. Also, there one oh God, well, I might as well just take Jalen Waddle, right? Like just take all the Dolphins. We'll take Hawkinson. We'll get rid of our tight end. One other thing too, like so you see how Amon-Ra is doubtful. The one cool thing about this format, they do it for basketball too. If they are listed as questionable and then when you draft them, if they're questionable and then they get ruled out, you can create late swap rankings. And based on like where you were drafting and everything, it auto puts somebody in. So you're not going to take an L on it. However, if they're doubtful and you do it, you don't get the late swap. It's only questionable or if they just like randomly or if they move from probable to doubtful, whatever.
That's cool.
But it is a nice, which is sick for basketball because basketball people are always questionable. You'll get like Ja Morant in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're getting like a 1st round pick in the 5th round. That's how you like. See, and there you go. You got Cooper Kupp there in the 3rd round.
Golly. See, and this Monkfish guy, man. Is Monkfish in the chat? Because Breece Hall was the guy I was looking at here. No more snap count for Breece going up against Denver this week.
I know.
I definitely had some interest there. Golly, man.
It's tricky.
I think I'm just going to go ahead and lock up, well.
Little Laporta? Oh, Deanna, I like Swift. I like Swift this week.
I fucking sorry for cursing. I timed out. I timed out. I was between Laporta and Lamar against my Steelers this week.
Ooh. Also,
historically, Lamar does not do well against Pittsburgh, but they're not really Pittsburgh this year, are they?
This is a different Pittsburgh.
Well, I get some Swift love there. So Weisberg and Matic Auto making me feel a little bit better.
Sorry, I was catching up on the chat. Bottom's yelling at me about SORARE. I didn't even know where it was coming from. I think he's just trying to put me on tilt. I see what's happening.
He's telling me not to listen to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we grabbed A-Rich, and then I think we're just going to throw Pittman in there like I said I was going to do. Just give me a little stack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do one more after this.
Yeah, I'm in for one more for sure. This is fun.
Yeah. I have found this far more enjoyable than like building a FanDuel or a DraftKings lineup lately. Like you take $50, rip 10 of these. I'd much rather do that than my single entry lineup. Like,
no, I get it. And we're fiends for this draft process here, so it makes sense.
And I just love for like low risk, I can get exposure to everybody I want.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. Well, I know I've watched, like watching some of like Overzet streams and stuff. I know Andy was one of the first guys that I think I saw really like hitting these hard.
Oh yeah. I do. I think you would crush the basketball. Like really, it did. I felt like I had a pretty big edge on it, and I was way up on NBA compared to everything else.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I know Monkfish doesn't have. They have a tight end left, so I'm gonna go tight end here, and I'm just gonna, against my better judgment, we're gonna go Darren Waller.
Oh boy,
come on, come on, Giants.
Now let me. Is the plan to grab Daniel Jones here too at the end?
Yeah, see, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, you could also do Stafford, right, with like Cooper.
Yeah, I was thinking Stafford. I don't, you want that stack, right? Tua also, though. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, Tua is fine. You don't need that. You definitely don't need the stack. I don't think you need to prioritize it.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, this is a fine first go round here. I'll go ahead. We'll go Daniel Jones. Probably going to be pretty low owned in this contest, I would imagine.
Oh, so. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. So Danny Dimes there. 3 touchdowns to Darren Waller. You heard it here first.
There you go. Unique as shirt. Jeb too. I saw that in the chat with a little Mahomes, Pacheco, Kelsey. I don't know if I would have thrown Pacheco in with that stack, but I like that the fact that you got Mahomes and Kelsey in that.
Yeah, see, Jeb and done a couple of these before, so that team makes sense. I like the Hollywood pick too. Hollywood kind of under the radar, been really
yeah. I think I might take Kamara here.
Jonathan Taylor officially questionable for week 5.
So you take Jonathan Taylor the 6th round. You just get anybody who didn't get drafted in that draft. So that's what I love about the questionable stuff.
Yeah, no, I like that for sure.
All right. I don't think we'll see Garens in this one. It's completed. Let's do one more. Let's jump in one more.
All right, here we go.
See if we get the same one here. A little bit harder when there's only 6 of them, but it looks like
I
was the second person in. There we go.
This is us too, yeah. Apparently Facundo Campazzo, my boy, not playing well today.
Oh, I was like, I thought you were about to be like just signed a 10-day or something. I was like,
nah.
back, maybe?
He's overseas and he came in. All right, here we go. Number 1.
101.
Yeah, man, he came in last year just destroying worlds, and then today did not have it. But I think I was dead anyways with the Milutinov and Davies foul trouble there. And this has been your EuroLeague update.
Is this on DraftKings? Is DraftKings firing out wow, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I did not know.
The contests are always tiny, but I'm just such a basketball fiend.
Yeah.
I mean, got the EuroLeague league pass thing that they do because it's cheap, and
I love it.
Afternoon hoops. That's where you go.
I love it.
All right, so I got the 1, you got the
101
here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll eat the chalk here with J. Jeff.
Why not?
Don't get the opportunity to have him on my teams that much, at least season long. So
yeah,
we'll take him on underdog.
I mean, he's just been a monster. I feel like regardless of the situation, he like crushes every single week.
Yeah. Consigliere with some Facu Campazzo talk. Such a stud, but the lack of consistent. Yeah, I mean, and he's so damn small, man. Like he's a wizard with the ball, man. I love Facu.
Consigliere, big Clippers fan, so I'm sure he was watching.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Campazzo was on. I was thinking of
Teodosic.
Yes.
Yeah, Milos. Also, I played Milos in EuroLeague DFS yesterday. It did not go well. I got to stop being so biased.
All right, we're going to throw Jamar Chase in there. We're going to take Chase here.
Always effing open, that Jamar Chase.
He is there. No one's scoring, but he's open. And I think we might take David Montgomery if he gets back to me with this next pick.
How wild is it that the lack of usage for Jamar Gibbs? I know sometimes that's going to be game script with them, but like the reaction in the draft room taking him at 12 does not line up with how they've been using this kid to start his career.
Well, and that was the justification for taking him 12, right? They're like, oh, we need him right now.
Yeah.
He's going to cook. Like we're ready to win right now, and then they didn't use him at all.
Do not get it.
I don't either.
Okay, coming up here. I think that A-Chain could be on my radar here.
Yeah, if he's still there, I mean, if you get him that late, that's
one more to go.
Yeah, that's a steal if you can get him at 12.
Mm-hmm. If not him, it's probably gonna be Andrews for me.
Yeah.
I just like targeting this Pittsburgh team right now. They're not good.
No, they're not good.
All right, Morales with Tyreek on the team. So you would think maybe no A-Chain. Timed out though, so A-Chain. Yep.
A-Chain
there it is.
Damn.
Okay. Well, I got 2 here, so we'll queue up Mandrews. Because I don't like you said, this is not exactly like your Millie Maker on DK where like I don't need to stack up like Hawkinson and Cousins here.
Right.
So yeah, it's probably gonna be Mandrews 1, and then I got Swift in the other draft, so I'll get my Breece Hall exposure here. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, this is an interesting, slightly different puzzle here.
Yeah, it does. It takes like a little while figuring it out.
Yeah,
taking a lot of shots.
Wait, how did Baldwin? Tyreek Evans. Where did the Tyreek Evans come from?
I think he's just yelling out stuff.
Okay, nice. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I think he's just yelling out stuff.
You say Tyreek Evans, I say Lance Stevenson.
Oh, there we go.
I have a Lance Stevenson shirt, by the way.
Do you really?
Yeah, I won in a bet with one of my FTN colleagues. I can probably pull it right here. Let me see. Oh yeah, there you go. There's your Lance for you.
There it is.
So like Lance.
I love it.
Straighten it out there.
That's solid.
I love Lance. All right. So you got some Swifty there.
Took some Swift there.
So what are you working with? You got Swift, Montgomery, and Chase. That ain't bad. That is not bad.
Took some Swift there.
Nico Collins.
I think we might take Laporta next year if he's still there. Nico Collins has been a monster, huh?
Unreal. I mean, I saw it up close and personal. I think the best bet that I made in NFL Week 4 was not burning $500 to drive to Houston and watch my Steelers get their butts whooped.
There you go.
Should have known that was coming on J.J. Watt Ring of Honor Day.
Right? Here, I need you to cook by yourself for 1 second.
I got you, brother. Breece could do the DJ Moore. Yeah, I mean, if Breece Hall is going to get whatever full run is for this Jets team against the Broncos, the Broncos can't stop anybody. And Dalvin Cook does not look good. So, yeah, I'm excited to get that Breece Hall share there. Pittman off the board. And Mike took Laporta. Laporta's been, breaking the mold in terms of rookie tight ends and fantasy production so far this season. I don't think that's gonna slow down. Just kind of picking up where Hawkinson left off before getting traded last year. If this was full PPR, I think the Kamara pick would be really undervalued at this point.
Sorry,
you're good. I was just talking about this being half point PPR, and like if it was full, that Kamara would be a screaming value here because Derek Carr can't throw the ball right now. I saw he's questionable as well here this week.
And you got to imagine the Patriots just lose. So it's a good game script there. Oh, wait, I don't know if you saw this. Weisberg in the chat said, what's your hottest NBA take a month before the season starts?
Oh my goodness. I would have to think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Let me get past this pick, Weisberg, and then I'll try to see what I've got for you. Just taking the Anthony Richardson, just kind of one off there. So I apologize to who took Michael Pittman there. I'm sure they were looking for Anthony Richardson on the back end.
It's Garen. Garen's gonna flood the chat here in a second.
I think this is gonna be a Hollywood pick for me. Just because I have Brees, I'm not going Garrett Wilson. I don't the Zach Wilson 20-minute mirage that we saw last week. I'm not buying in there. All right, hottest NBA take a month before the season starts.
Garen in the chat said, "I'm dead."
Sorry, Garen. I don't know. This is probably not a hot take, but I guess I could have two. These are not scorching hot. I think they're lukewarm. But OKC, top 6 seed, and Dallas misses the play-in again.
Oh, Dallas misses the play-in. I think that is pretty hot. I like that. That's a pretty hot one. I don't know if you've heard, but I've been saying OKC top 4.
Yeah,
I'm saying
they're good, man. They're good.
They're gonna be so good.
And you added Chet, like they can be. I think top 4, obviously a little bit hotter, but yeah, I think they are clear of the play-in this year. And yeah, I was searching for something that I'm glad I hit the hot meter there for Weisberg. Dallas missing is a hot take.
Yeah,
it is, but can't stop anybody, man. Like I get that you can outscore people on most nights, but
yeah, that's going to be a tough scene. I think I'm curious. But if you told me, I mean, this is like this with everybody in the Western Conference, man. If you told me Dallas finished 4th or 12th, I'd like buy both of them. You know,
dude, the West is gonna be an absolute bloodbath. Even more, I feel like, than it normally is. Again, if people stay healthy, because look, I just think that Phoenix is kind of a better version of Dallas right now.
Yeah,
like gonna score a ton. I think could score 130 points a game, but also not going to stop anybody. Again, Zion, if he's healthy for the majority of the season, I think the Pelicans are a team to be reckoned with. Obviously Denver's still there, the Clippers if they're healthy, Lakers. I mean, it's just
there's so many.
Memphis, yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
Well, the thing that I hope happened this season, I hope the Raptors are in the lottery, but not one of the 8 worst teams, so that pick comes over to San Antonio this year.
Oh, there you go. I thought that was going to be a pro Toronto take at first. You're like, oh yeah, they have a good fan base. I want them to be happy. You're like, nah, dude, I just want their pick.
Come on, got to convey those picks. Common man, it's no Dallas hate. I'm one of the biggest Luka fans that's not a Mavericks fan. I think that those teams passing over him in that draft, whenever, was that 5 years ago now? One of the worst decisions of all of those teams and their front offices. I guess I'm up here on the clock, so I need to stop yapping for a second. Last pick of the draft, Saquon Barkley is questionable.
There you go. That's a free.
But no.
Square.
No. I'm gonna do. I did it again. Sorry for cursing.
I do it all the time.
Who did I? It says it's not. It always screws up on this last pick of a draft here on Underdog. So I'm not actually sure who I got there between Saquon and JT, but both guys questionable. Since I had Anthony Richardson, I thought for a second JT probably not the pick there. So I hope I got Saquon.
There you go. I like it. Well, dude, this was fun, man. I'm glad I hung out with you more today than anybody else in my life.
Yeah,
my wife
same
in the
here.
other room. But dude, I'm pumped to have you back on. We'll have to do this again. Now, you said you guys are doing on the FTN channel, which I'll tag in the show notes. You guys are doing you'll do drafts every Friday at 1:00. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'll be on every Friday at 1. And what I've been doing before we had the double stream today, so I was definitely not going to keep you for a second one. I've been doing an Underdog and then a DraftKings just for anybody who may be doing both sites, and really highlighting the differences in my strategies between the two, because different schedule for the two sites in terms of the payout structure, the playoff rounds, etc. And then DraftKings, all those guys in DFS that are forward eligible and centers, your Triple J's, your Karl Anthony Towns, Victor Wembanyama, Those guys are forwards over there. There are hardly any centers. So it's a
Wow.
different ball game over there on DraftKings with the best ball.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. We'll have to do this again though, especially as we get closer to the season, and then maybe once I get you addicted to the dailies, we'll get some dailies.
I think I'm well on my way here, so I appreciate you and everybody in the chat for getting me hooked and just furthering my gambling addiction here. You know,
it is a problem. It is a problem. Anything else we got to plug before we get you out of here?
I don't think so, man. FTN Network, so FTN Daily, FTN Fantasy, FTN Bets. I'm the head of basketball content over there at FTN. A lot of good things going on. And so, you know, if you want to jump in there for some DFS action, a lot of that content is free. Some of it's behind the paywall. So I'd just say check out FTN. And I'm at KawhisenbergDFS on Twitter. And that's what I will call Twitter forever.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to start calling it X. It feels dirty. But dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was fun hanging out. And otherwise, we'll be back. Yeah, this is it. We'll be back on Monday. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Enjoy some football this weekend. And the WNBA finals start on Sunday, which why didn't they start that tonight? There's no MLB playoffs. There's like 2 college football games. There's like start it tonight. What are we doing?
We got to go ahead. We got to go head to head against the NFL. It makes sense.
I can't believe it. I mean, it would have been prime time. Whatever. Anyways,
I'm just excited for you to buy my lunch in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Thanks again, man. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.